Right, okay. So we'll start the lesson. So last week, somehow I was able to complete the network. I think you guys couldn't make it, right? Because of the power cut that we had here. Uh, but I have shared the video link, so you can just watch how to configure that, right? Uh, and so today we're actually going to finish up the assignment discussion, and there are a couple of things that I want to teach you guys, so I'll teach that one as well, right? So then I'll give you guys next week to get the feedbacks, right? So now since we have around 100 plus students in the class, I'll do it like this. Those who want to get the feedbacks, I'll share Excel sheet. I'm not going to share it with, I'm not going to give it to your coordinators or anyone else. So if it doesn't fill it, it doesn't mean that it's going to do something to you. So don't worry about that, right? There's nothing to worry. It's just like I'll give you guys a time slot. So in that case, we can just manage it, right? Because otherwise, like if I just maybe come to the class and if I say, okay, I'm going to give feedback, sometimes all of you guys might try to get feedback. Sometimes none of you guys want to get feedbacks, right? So in that case, it's not going to work out for a larger batch. So therefore, I'll just share a sheet. If you are willing to get feedbacks, you can just put your name and then I'll put a time slot, right? Maybe 10, 15 minutes per one student, maybe 10 minutes per one student, right? Likewise, so in that case, you can get the feedbacks, right? I think maybe week after that also we might be able to have a feedback session. Won't be an issue, I guess. We'll see how that goes. But no, when you said deadline, I think I told that 16th or 15th, right? So in that case, I think after next week you won't be able to get any feedbacks, right? So therefore, next week you can come and get them if you want, right? But if you're not going to get any feedbacks, I have already shared the breakdown with you guys, right? Assignment breakdown is there. So in that case, just cross check when it comes to each task. The given points are there, right? Today I'll tell you what are the things that are must and what are the things that are actually not really going to be necessary in order to get the pass, right? I'll highlight them and I'll show it to you guys, right? So in that case, you can at least just check whether those things are there, right? Otherwise, no point of submitting it because then again you are going to fail the module and then again you have to resubmit, blah blah blah, right? So therefore, it's going to take a lot of time. So better to avoid that, right? So now this is the network that we have developed. Like we have two branches, and also we have what do you call servers, right? And also we have enable routing, right? So if you just connect computers to these different departments or different switches, they will automatically get the IP addresses from the DHCP server, which we have configured in the router, right? And also two branches can communicate with each other, right? So there was a one little thing which we did not cover, like how to add an access point. Like access point means this kind of a device. May din wale ay gal Wi-Fi yanni, right? Wi-Fi connect, right? So how to connect the access point, right? So how to connect the access point to your network, right? So if you just go through your assignment brief, they have mentioned that for certain departments, right? For certain departments, they need both what do you call switches, and also they want to use Wi-Fi service as well, right? So they have not specifically mentioned, okay, we want to have Ethernet connections and Wi-Fi connections. What they have done is like within brackets, they have given for certain departments, they need Wi-Fi connection as well. So in that case, what you have to do is for those departments, you should add access points, right? So whenever you want to access, whenever you want to add access point, let's say here we have our switch, and let's say I'm going to get the access point. So what you have to do is you have to simply connect the access point with the switch using a fast Ethernet cable, because when it comes to the access points, most of the ones that we have in the packet tracer, they have fast Ethernet uh, ports. So then on the switch also, depending on the availability, you can either connect it to a fast Ethernet or else a gigabit Ethernet port, but there's no point of connecting it to a gigabit Ethernet since the our access point can only receive or send 100 data at 100 Mbps rate. So then what you have to do is whenever you are going to connect this to, let's say we have connect this to FP0 slash let's say 10, right? So whenever you connect switch and access point, what you have to do is you have to make sure that this port is going to operate in access mode, right? If you put this port in switch port mode trunk, the access point will not work, right? So you must remember that, because some students are going to like, connect access points to their networks, and then yeah, they are going to just trunk the switch port, right? When it comes to the access points, guys, unlike switches, we don't have CLI or anything. Make a config current name access point, right? There's a GUI if you want to configure it, right? Otherwise, like we don't have, very complex, what do you call operating system and commands. We don't even have a CLI in access points. Access points are CLI, right? You just have a very simple GUI. I'll show you how to add that one. But before that, I have to explain the theoretical part now. So therefore, when you're going to connect the access point, you must convert this switch port into access. If this port is going to work in trunk mode, whenever we connect the computer to this access point, this computer will not get any IP addresses, and this access point really can't communicate with the switch. That issue is there. So if you access, when you connect the computer to access point, and if that computer is not getting IP addresses, the very first thing that you can check is whether that switch port is trunk or access. If it is access, then there's something else. Then you have to check whether when you connect the computer to this switch, is this computer getting IP addresses? If not, then probably, now let's say here we have router. If this port, then if this computer is not getting DHCP or IP addresses, then probably this port might not be trunked, or else you might not have created the DHCP pool here, or else you might not have created a sub interface for this particular department. So those are the root causes, right? Check right? So if all those things are there, then it must work, right? So however, in order all these things to work, your subnetting should be correct. Subnetting are the end node, nothing errors, right? Right. So I'll add access point to this department too, right? So if you guys want to join with the online meeting, you can use the last week meeting link. Then recording meeting link last week meeting link I have like started the same meeting again. The Teams link. You can use the last week Teams link. So if you want to add an access point, what you have to do is right. You have to go to the networking devices, right? Networking devices. And under the networking devices here, we have routers, then we have switches, then we have hubs, and then we have wireless devices, right? You have to click on wireless devices. So then you can see that there are different types of
access points and Wi-Fi routers are there, right? So what you can do is, I would recommend you guys to use this one, this APPTN access point, APPTN access point, right? Because when it comes to Wi-Fi also, I told you that we have different versions, right? 802.11 Wi-Fi versions. So now this is going to actually support the version N, right? Then we have version called ACA, right? Likewise, I mean, we have different ones as well, right? So therefore, I'm going to use this APPTN version, right? So I'm just going to add this access point to this network. Let's say I'm just going to keep it here, right? So after getting an access point, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get a copper straight through cable, right? You can even use a crossover because those are both are layer 2 devices, right? So then you can see that when I just click on the device, we only have one port. Port product access point, we have one port, right? We only have one single port. You can just connect the cable there. So it was a yellow color one. So yellow color means it is fast Ethernet, right? So then you can simply connect it to any of these ports, because why? From FA0/2 to 24, all these ports are actually operating in access mode. Because when VLANs, I actually assign FA0/, they are being operating on access mode. So I'm just going to connect it to, let's say, fast Ethernet 0/2, right? Fast Ethernet 0/2 will connect up, right? So then we'll wait a while until this turns green, right? So then next thing is, okay, how you can connect the computer to the access point. Then go the cable connect, right? So for that, I'm just going to take two computers. I'm going to take a desktop computer, and also I'm going to take a laptop computer. So I'll show you how you can add these computers to the existing network, right? Right? So if you want to add a desktop computer, you can click on the computer. Then you can go to the physical tab that we have here. Then what you have to do is, first you have to power off this computer, right? We are going to just switch off. Power button, right? Here we have a power button, right? So when you switch, when you click it, the power is actually going to off. So then after that, we have to remove the existing network interface card. Network interface card, right? So we have to remove it, right? So I have removed it. Then after that, I'm going to add this WMP 300N, right? So this is a Wi-Fi network card, or else wireless network interface card, right? Wireless network interface card, but again Wi-Fi adapter here, right? So this is the Wi-Fi adapter, right? So you have to add this, right? Then you can turn on the computer, right? Then you can close it. So now you can see it got connected, right? Connected, right? But there's another issue, right? So whenever you have multiple access points, then one access point and then all in your assignment, they have asked you to put a couple of access points, right? So then I'll go to the laptop, right? Let's say this laptop, I just want to connect it to this access point, right? So sometimes, right? Sometimes when you try to do that, sometimes this laptop might get connected to this access point instead of this one, right? We'll have to connect it, right? So for that also, we can actually, do some configuration. So I'll show you how to do that in order to prevent that from happening, right? So I'm going to the laptop. So here in the laptop, we have the power button here. The power button in laptop, right? And here. So you can just click it, then it's turned off, then we can remove the adapter, and then you can add this WPC300N network interface card. So then if you guys are thinking, WPC300N, this is the only wireless network interface card that is available for this particular device. So when you click here, it's going to show us a description here, right? So if you want to learn about all these modules, when you click on this, it's going to show a description about that particular network interface card, right? So then after that, I'm going to switch on this computer. So until you switch it on, it won't connect, right? May power button guy open do right? ඒක ඔන්න අවුලක් නැහැ මෙහෙට කනෙක්ට් වුණා. right? අපිට නිකන් තව duplicate එකක් ගමු බලන්න මේ device එකේ නිකන් copy එකක් දාලා just paste it here maybe. මේක තමයි connect වෙන්නේ. And let's say if I just want to connect a what you call PC to this access point, right? So how would I do that? කොහොමද කරන්නේ වැඩි? අපි කියමු මේක this is let's say ABC කියලා, right? So what you can do is you can go to the access point, right? You can click on the access point. Then you have to go to the config. Access point config download, right? When you go to the configs, we have something called port 1. Port 1 here. So you can click on port 1. So when you click on port 1, then what you can do is you can actually enable security for this access point. Now, for an example, now whenever I just put a computer to this packet tracer environment, it got automatically connected with the access point, right? But now typically whenever you want to log into a Wi-Fi, you have to type a password. Ne? So with this tab, we can actually set a password and also a SSID. SSID can when you turn on Wi-Fi, it's going to show different profiles, right? Now when you come to these up, now if you just turn on Wi-Fi, it's going to show the staff here, lab 1, lab 2, lab 3, lab 4, lab 5, and then VIP exam guest right? I mean, there are different SSIDs. So depending on which profile that you guys are going to log in, you'll have different privileges. Again, if you log in as a staff, if you go and connect it to the staff Wi-Fi, you can pretty much access any website, right? And you can download up to 2 GB per day, right? GB download කරන්න පුළුවන්. But if you log in as a student, I think you guys have a data quota. තියෙනනේ මොකක්ද data package එකක් තියෙනනේ මොකක්ද GBs ගණක් තියෙනනේ limit එකක් තියෙනනේ. I think there is, right? I think for you guys, I think it's 5 GB or 7 GB or something like that per student, I guess. I mean, it's common. හරි සාමාන්‍ය ඒ ගන්න තමයි දෙන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය ගොඩක් campus වල. Government එකකට මම හිතන්නේ දෙනවා unlimited වගේ. But I think in most campuses, private campuses, like they have just limited, right? ලිට් එකේ ඉන්න කාලෙත් අපිට දුන්නේ 5G. right? ඒ පාවිච්චි වෙන්නේ නැහැ. අපි යන්නේ සතියකට එකපාරයි. හරිද? යන්නේ නැහැ. ඒකට ඉතින් වැඩක් නැහැ. But I mean, they are also like ඔයාලගේ වගේම තමයි මේ වගේම Wi-Fi system එක. right? For student, each student, they will get a specific amount of data. right? එච්චර configurations මේක කරන්න බෑ. right? We can do some small configurations. right? We cannot actually do those kind of things. So first what you have to do is like we have to select the security mode that we are going to use, right? With these devices. So the latest security technology that we are going to use with these wireless devices is actually WPA3 තමයි අලුත් එක. හරිද? දැන් තාම මේ devices වල නෑ. අපේ ගෙවල් වල තියෙන වගේ තියෙන this technology which we call as WPA2, right? With WPA2 ඔයාලා දැකලා තියෙන YouTube එකේම තියෙන Wi-Fi hack කරනවා කියලා. අල්ලපු ගෙදර පොරගේ Wi-Fi එකට access කරන්න scene එකක් එහෙම තියෙන්නේ. So with WPA2 you can actually break that and you can access it, right? But there's a newer version called WPA3, but with WPA3 it's pretty difficult to do that. Like WPA2 වල පුළුවන්, right? So we can just send a broadcast message saying, okay, de-authenticate all the devices, and when they are going to authenticate, we are going to capture that key, and then we are going to use that to access the access point or Wi-Fi router, right? So therefore, like the latest technology that we have is WPA2, PSK. PSK can pre-shared key, which means like password. Then Wi-Fi can log in or password that done, right? So you already know what is the password. A pre-shared key, which means key has been shared prior to enabling this security mechanism. So that's why we call it as pre-shared key, right? So we have to click on that, and then we can set a password and also SSID. Again, then අපි computers වල ගිහලා Wi-Fi option එකට ගියාට පස්සේ there it's going to show different routers with different SSIDs. දැන් ඔයාගේ ගෙදර ගිහිල්ලා Wi-Fi on කරත් එහෙම පෙන්නනවා අල්ලපු ගෙදර අංකල්ගේ Wi-Fi එක පෙන්නනවා right ඉස්සරහා ගෙදර පොරගේ Wi-Fi එක පෙන්නනවා ඈ එහෙම වටපිට හදින ගෙවල් ගෙවල් ළඟ ළඟ නම් තියෙන්නේ පෙන්නනවා නේ Wi-Fi stick right කාගේ කාගේ තියෙන්නේ කියලා. So likewise whenever you go to Cisco packet tracer and if you have configured your access points according to different names when you turn on the Wi-Fi they are going to show these things right. So let's see how to configure that. So first we have to click on this WPA2 because at the moment authentication is disabled, right? Authentication is disabled. Authentication is enable. You have to select either WEP or WPA, let's say WPA1 or else WPA2, right? So then here we can actually type the what do you call our password, right? I'll use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I use karana, right? Then here we have something called SSID. SSID like okay, this is my ABC access point. This is my ABC access point, right? Right. Okay. So then I'll put this information. Guys, if you guys having difficulties seeing the screen, you can log into the meeting using the phone. Same old last week meeting video meeting link. You can just refer it and then you can what do you call watch it from your mobile phone. I take rewind than I think can you rewind it? I can't. Huh? Okay, whatever. But after that, after I stop recording, you can do that, right? Okay, fine, whatever. Right. So then I'll go to, I'll just, I have just closed it. Open color, right? Then I'm going to, let's say I'm going to the laptop. When I go to the laptop desktop computer and whatever, right? So then go to the desktop. You have to go to the desktop tab. Then under the desktop tab, you have this PC wireless icon. Within PC wireless scale, signal, right? So you can click on this PC wireless and then you have to wait a while. And then you have to click on this connect option, right? So like right now we are in this link information, we have to click on connect, right? When you go to the connect, you can click on refresh. So when you type refresh, now you can see that we are going to have two Wi-Fi profiles. Wi-Fi profiles default means the access point that we have had here. The first access point that I have added to the department 2, since I did not change the name or anything, the name default is there. Then I have my second access point, which I have added, which is ABC, right? And like just like your actual Wi-Fi, what you call connections, it's also going to show the signal strength and all, right? So if you have an external network interface card, or if you have like, plugged the, what do you call aftermarket network interface card, then there we have different softwares. When you connect your computer to the Wi-Fi, it's going to show the data rate and what do you call the signal strength and the Wi-Fi channel that you are using, etc. Those kind of information, right? So like here, actually, it's not going to show that many information, but a couple of information are there, like strength and MAC address of the device. Those kind of things are there, right? So then we can click on ABC, then we can type the password, and then we can click on connect. So our computer is going to get connected to that access point, right? And until we disconnect, it's going to stay connected, right? If you have just added a couple of access points like this, and if you what do you call it, close the packet tracer, and when you turn it on in the next morning, all these access points are going to, or all these computers are going to connected to different departments sometimes. For an example, sometimes department 2 computers might get connected to branch B department something, right? So right? So in order to avoid that, you must enable this one as well, right? So we were in the laptop. So I'll click on ABC. I'll click on connect. Then I have to type. I have to select the security authentication protocol that we have selected there. So it is WPA2, and then I have to type the password 1234567 8. Right? Then I can click on connect. Right? So then you can see that this computer got connected to this access point. Right? So that's how you have to do that. Right? Uh, right? So this is also a must, right? Because when you go through your assignment brief, there are certain departments where you have to have both Ethernet connections and Wi-Fi, right? For Ethernet connections, they have not specifically mentioned that. They have just mentioned, okay, we have computers. So that means those are Ethernet connections. If they have mentioned within brackets, so maybe like Wi-Fi or something, then for certain departments, you have to have Ethernet connection and also Wi-Fi connection. So whenever you want to add a access point, you have to actually connect the access point to the switch. Then this switch is going to get connected with the rest of the network, right? So that's how this linking is going to happen. And as I told you, this port need to be accessed, right? So now for an example, if I go to these computers now, actually, I mean department 2 computer, right? If I go to the department 2 computer, now this department 2 computer is actually getting IP addresses, right? Here we can see that, okay, we have IP address 192.168.2.2 and all these information are there. So if I just trunk the port where this access point and switch is going to get connected, the computer will not work, right? Computer IP address is so then computer will give us an error message like this, not error. So if you go to, like, let's say now if I just go to this access point, like this access point is not connected with the network now. So in that case, if I go to the PC and if I click on DSCP, you can see that, okay, we have IP address, but we are actually going to get this IP address when our DSCP request got timeout, right? So don't think that, because there are some students who are going to believe that whenever even they got like IP address which is going to start with 169.254.82.48 or like with that particular network range, they are going to believe, okay, maybe IP right? But this is not a valid IP, right? This IP is only going to get by your computers when DSCP is not working, right? So by using this IP address, you can't communicate, right? So therefore, please keep that in mind as well, right? Then there's another thing, right? In your what do you call assignment, they have asked you to put CCTV cameras for certain departments, right? So for certain departments, certain branches, you have to add CCTV cameras, right? So now then I'll show you how to add a CCTV camera to your network. You don't have to configure it, right? Just connect it, right? But unlike these access point and switches, when you take a CCTV camera, like it doesn't actually have a port, right? So you have to go to the settings of that camera and then you have to enable the port. Until then, you can't connect the Ethernet cable, right? So for the CCTVs, guys, you can have a separate switch, right? You can just have a separate switch and also a separate VLAN, right? Let's say you can say, okay, VLAN 100 CCTVs, right? For branch A and branch B, right? You can have two different switches. So then you can connect the CCTV cameras to that particular switch, right? So they have given like 5 CCTV cameras, 6 CCTV cameras, likewise they have given. And for that also you have to calculate the IP addresses, right? So then I'll show you how to add a CCTV camera, right? CCTV camera කියලා මේ packet price එකේ නෑ මේකේ තියෙන webcams කියලා හරිද? So uh, so if you just click on the search bar and if you search web, so here we have this web camera, right? So actually it is there under the home appliances as I can remember. When you click on end devices and when you click on home, here we have different IoT devices. I think, yeah, under the end devices and under the home appliances, we have this thing, webcam. Webcam කියන එක තමයි CCTV camera කියලා ගන්න වෙන්නේ ඔයාලට. හරිද? මොකද packet price එකේ CCTV කියලා මේ special camera එකක් නැහැ. Right? So you can just drag and drop a web camera like this, right? So I'll connect this to department 1, right? I'll connect this to department 1. So I'll go to the connections and I'll click on copper straight through cable and I'll click on the camera. So you can see that we don't have an Ethernet port on the camera. Ethernet port camera, right? So by default, you don't have an Ethernet port. So you have to go and click on the camera, right? Uh, then you have to click on what do you call it? Yeah, go to the camera. Then under the specifications, here we have a button called Advanced. Click on Advanced, right? So when you click on Advanced, the what do you call different set of settings are going to get added to your device. So then you have to click on IO configs, right? Input and output configs. And here under the network adapter, it is actually selected the, I think it's a IoT related thing. I really don't know about IoT much, right? So you can just click on this drop down menu and then you can select the copper Ethernet connection, right? Or port, right? So you can select copper C. So 1C FE means one copper fast Ethernet and 1C GE means one copper gigabit Ethernet. So here I'm going to connect it to a, what you call fast Ethernet port. I'm going to select 1CFE, right? I'll connect it to 1CFE and then I'll close it. Then I go to the, then when I go to the, what you call web camera, now you can see I have a fast Ethernet port. Then තියෙන port එක කලින් තිබ්බේ නැහැ. හරිද? මොකද සමහර ළමයි අහනවා සර් කොහමද වෙබ් කැමරා එක කනෙක්ට් කරන්නේ? ඒකට port එකක් නැහැ නේ කියලා. හරි? සබ්මිෂන් එක හෙට තියලා අදහනවා මම ඉතින් වෙබ් කැමරා එක කොහොමද කනෙක්ට් කරන්නේ කියලා ඕනේ. ඉතින් කෝඩ් එකම දාලා දුන්නේ. කොහොමද ඔයා කනෙක්ට් කරන්නේ වෙබ් කැමරා එක. හරිද? So in that case I think මට මතක නැහැ ඔයාලගේ assignment break මේ මොනවද brief එකේ බලන්න. ඒකේ දාලා දෙනවා cameras කීයක් ඕනද කියලා. So that particular number of cameras should be there in your network and they should get connected to the network, right? And also IPs නම් කතා වෙන නැතත් issue එකක් නැහැ, but when you are going to add the subnetting tables and all, subnetting and IP calculation tables, the IP addresses should be allocated for the IP cameras because they call these things as IP cameras, right? Which means they operate using IP addresses. They work in a network environment, right? So that's how you what do you call add an access point and also a CCTV camera or is IP camera, right? So again, whenever you want to connect the IP camera also, the switch port need to be in access mode. Switch port access mode tamati node, right? Just like other end devices, right? Right. So that's about the system configurations, right? So now we'll go ahead and check what we have to do in our task 2, task 3, and also task 4, right? Task 3, 2, 3, 4 වල මොකද කරන්න තියෙන්නේ කියලා බලමු, right? Right? And also මම දැන් ඔයාලට කිව්වනේ මොනවද මස්ට් ඒවා ටික කියනවා කියලා මේක කරන්න ඕනේ ඒවා ටික. හරිද? ඒ කියන්නේ වඩිනොත් එම කම්මැලි ගානි මට ඔන්න ඔය distinction ඕනෙත් නැහැ merit ඕනෙත් නැහැ. I just want to get a pass කියලා හිතුනොත් එහෙම, right? In the first task, these are the things that you have to do in order to get a pass, right?
1.2, 1.4, 1.5, 1.2. അതായത് അനിവാര്യം on. Then 1.4 must pass second make a distinction ഒക്കെ നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അതായത് 1.2, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6 and 1.7. ඒක ඕනේ අනිවාර්යෙන් pass එකක් ගන්න. ඔයටික මිස් වෙලා තිබ්බොත් එහෙම pass නැහැ fail. හරිද? හිතන්න අනිත් ඔක්කොම ටික කරලා වාට 1.7 එක මිස් වෙලා. නැත්තම් 1.6 එක මිස් වෙලා ඔක්කොම ටික කරලා. එතකොට fail. හරිද? So those things are must 1.2, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. ඒ ටික ඕන. 1.8 එහෙම ඕනේ නැහැ. ඒවා must එකක් නෙමෙයි. Must එකක් නෙමෙයි කියන්නේ unless you want to end up with a pass, you don't have to do it. Right? So if you're just, I think, believer කරයි කියලා ගොඩක් කට්ටිය හරිද ඉන්නවා කියන්නේ. So if you are not going to, if you have not completed your assignment by next week or so, I mean, to get a feedback, so then at least just make sure those tasks are there, or those contents are there, right? If it is not, there's no point of submitting it on time because again you are going to get failed and then go on pass at the mark. Option I just have to tick yes or no. Option let's say if you have only done like 1.5 එකේ භාගයයි කරලා තියෙනවා. right? එතකොට එහෙනම් භාගයක් කරලා තියෙනවා කියලා මට මාක් කරන්න option එකක් නැහැ. මට තියෙන්නේ move එක කරලාද නැද්ද? yes no type answers මට දාන්න තියෙන්නේ. just like check two check boxes. One says yes, the other one says no. So if you have not completely completed the entire task or entire subtask, I'll put no. right? මම භාගයට කරලා තියෙනවා නැත්නම් 80% කරලා තියෙනවා 75% කරලා තියෙනවා කියලා එහෙම option එකක් නැහැ. හරිද? so ඉතින් හරියට ඔක්කොම ටික තියෙන්න ඕනේ. right? So otherwise, you have to do it again, and there's no point of submitting it on time. On time submit karata. And also, I think this is going to be your very first ELMS submission for most people. In the guys, me ELMS submit karna last moment එක වෙනකන් ඉන්න බාර දෙක 11:55 වලට submit කරන්න යන්න එපා. At least 11:40 වෙනකොටවත් ELMS එක load කරගෙන ඒක last කරගන්න, right? Because it will take some time to upload the file because now at that time all of your batchmates and other people, I don't know, like other batches also, they might be having submissions. So when all these people try to access the ELMS at the same time and upload your documents to the ELMS at the same time, it is going to load the file, or it's going to take a while to upload your file to the server. So it can take up to maybe 20 minutes, right? Maybe sometimes 25 minutes, right? So likewise, it can take some time. We don't know. Right, so therefore, better to prepare ourselves and at least, I mean, just better to log into the ELMS and just make sure that everything is there. And like, because if you just miss the deadline by 1 second, still it will count as a late submission, right? And there's nothing that we can do because I just have to, like, let's say, even if I have given a distinction for you, automatically system will put your pass, right? By discarding the grade, mentioning that this is a late submission. Right. So in the, I think we have like another, how many days? Other first, the second, deadline 15, 30, 16, 30. So approximately you have like 14 days again. Right. Right. So, right. So then we'll discuss about the task 2. Right. Right. Task 2.1 last week discuss karani. Yes. Task 2.1 I discussed, right? So I want to 2.1 එක මොකක්ද කරන්න තියෙන්නේ කියන්න, right? In task 2.1, what you have to do is you have to discuss about different networking devices, which means okay. So in the first, I mean, task 2.1, this is a must, right? 2.1 is a must, and 2.2 is also a must, right? It is a must. First, you have to explain what are the different networking devices that we have and how do they operate. Apne මොනවද තියෙන networking devices like what is a router? How does it work? Right? What is a switch? How does it work? Right? You can maybe add some images. I mean, adding images won't get you marks, but if you want to keep your what do you call assignment document nice and like, what do you call in a very what do you call attractive form, so you can just maybe consider adding some images. I don't know, up to you, right? දැන් මම නෑ කියලා තවුලක් නෑ මම ඒත් ඉතින් ඒක ලම්බක පන්නේ ඉම්ප්‍රෙෂන් නෑ බල ඕනේ එකක් දාපන් දැන් මම නේද තවුලක් නෑ, right? So then you have to explain like how do they work, right? Then here we have to discuss about the interdependency of workstation hardware and relevant networking software, right? So now that means here you have to simply explain seven people record එක විතරනේ කවන්නේ මම හිතන්නේ record එක බලනවා ඇති මින් කියලා. හරි. ඒ ටොම් ඇන්ඩ් ජෙරි වගේ බෑ මම අර පස්සේ ගිහිල්ලා මේ මොනවද ළමයි හොයාගෙන ඇවිල්ලා උඹ ක්ලාස් එකට දාලා එහෙම කරන්න බෑ ඉතින් එහෙම කරන්නේ නැහැ. අවුලක් නැහැ ඉතින්. right? මේ අපි මම personally මම attendance ලොකුවට බලන්නේ නැහැ හැබැයි අපල සමහර හිතමු ක්‍රොස් එක වැඩනට වගේ වුණොත් ඒක කොහොමද නේ? හරි. නේ ඉන්දියාව වැඩනට වුණොත් එහෙම right? So ඒක එළිය නැත්තම් ගොඩේ දානනේ. දැන් එහෙම තමයි ඉතින් පොඩ්ඩක් එහෙම කරන්නේ ඔයාලට ඉතින් තරහට නේද? because this your first semester දැන් බල දැන් ඉදම පිස්සු ගෙනෙන්න ගත්තොත් එහෙම මේ දිගටම ඒ කියන්නේ සමහර කට්ටිය හැදෙනවා. හරිද? Some people they'll just put themselves into the correct track after a while, but there are some people who are just going to get the freedom only when they come to the ESOP maybe. So they are just going to utilize that time and they're just going to enjoy their life during that time, right? So, which is okay, but later on you'll have consequences because you have not participated for the lectures and you don't have the knowledge and all, right? So even if you go to maybe a foreign university, in some universities like Malli, right? So he's doing medicine, so then like one day he just got a back pain and hospital admit. The next day they were having exam and he went to the exam hospital injection lectures he lecture exam lecture 5 minutes late. So then if they don't go to the lectures, they'll deduct marks. Aru hospital take කරන ඒත් ඔය ලකුණු කපන. පහක් කපන. හරිද? So ඒව සීනුත් තියෙනවා. right? So ඔයාලට රැකීම ඉෂුව එකක් ලොකුවට නෑ මම කපන්නේ අනිත් ඒවා මම දන්නේ නෑ මට ඒක නෑ. හරිද? බල assignment එක හොදට කරලා vibe එක හොදට කළොත් මට අවුලක් නෑ. හරි? But in the lectures ඒ වල 5000 විතර ගෙවනවා නේ දවසකට මං හිතන්නේ. ഈ software 5,000 ഇത്ര കേൾക്കണം. You guys are paying the cost fee. You guys are just like, you have only like 2 weeks, like 2-day lectures, right? Like, I don't know. Dia begitu mungkin naiknya mantan nih. Makin jauh awal kilometer sekitar apa kali kilometer makin. So, like, then discuss the interdependence of workstation hardware and relevant networking software, right? And conduct online research and find examples of networking softwares that can be used with above network design. Right? So that means now, if you just have computer hardware and you use them for something, can't, right? So then if you have softwares without hardwares, softwares actually nothing. We can't do anything with softwares. So then let's say if you have softwares and hardware both, right? So then you'll have these computers. But without computer networks, we can't actually connect it. So that's what you have to explain there. Then you have to explain, then you have to do a Google search and identify what are the different network management softwares that are available. Right? Just go to the Google and type network management softwares. Right? Then add few examples. Right? Let's say we have examples like pati කියලා කියන්නේ ඒකට pati කියලා තියෙනවා කට්ටිය පුටි කියලා තියෙනවා, right? Different names, right? So I mean, pati is actually being used to configure the network devices, right? It's a what do you call a terminal program, so which we can actually use to access the CLI of different networking devices, right? Then we have something called Wireshark. So Wireshark is a network monitoring software actually. So I have so that one actually you can use for various kind of things, right? Even for what do you call ethical hacking purposes also you can use it, right? Network monitoring you can use it. You can capture the traffic. You can do different kinds of things, right? So that's what you have to do. And here I have given a description on what to do under task 2.2, right? So 2.1 and 2.2 are pass criteria. දෙකම කරලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ නැත්නම් fail. හරිද? Then 2.3. 2.3 is a merit criteria, right? ඔක්කොම ටික කරලා 2.3 කරලා තිබ්බ නැතිවත් එන්නේ මොකද වෙන්නේ? You have missed the one merit criteria. That means you will only end up with a pass, right? So in the task 2.3, you have to explain what are the servers, right? What do you mean by a server computer, which we will discuss. And then what is the role of a server in a computer network environment. And then you have to explore different servers that are available in the today's market with their specifications. And then you have to recommend the server computer for the given scenario or for the given organization. It's like this, right? Now, when it comes to server computers, now the difference between your computers and the server computers are simply server computers will have a specific task to perform, whereas your computers are going to fall under general computer category, right? Which means you are going to use your computers to play games, watch movies, and do your assignments, and maybe for your work, you're going to listen to music, right? Those kind of things you're going to use your computers. On the other hand, when it comes to the servers are like let's say, servers are like when you guys are going to go to jobs. So you'll have a specific thing to do, right? You'll have a specific thing to do. Like let's say, teacher let's say, depending on the subject stream that you're going to teach, you are going to go through that path, right? Engineer let's say civil engineer, then you are going to think about the civil engineering related stuffs, right? Software engineer okay, then you'll just go on that path. Software engineering කියලා ඉන්නකොට ඔයා බලන්නේ නැහැ කොහොමද තට්ටු 10ක බිල්ඩින් එකක් ගහනකොට කොහොමද මේ මොනවද beams දාන්න ඕනේ කොහොමද කියලා ඔයා බලන්නේ නැහැ නේ අපි බලන්නේ නැහැ නේ ඔය ගිහිල්ලා, right? So likewise, right? So server computers means like they will only serve a specific task, or they will do a specific task, right? So unlike our personal computers, they don't do multiple different tasks at the same time,
So that means they have a dedicated purpose, right? So now in that case, story right? So now when it comes to the servers, like we have different types of servers, right? Now, for an example, if you take, let's say online games that you guys are playing, right? So in that case, we have game servers, right? If you can remember our network, we actually use few servers in our network itself, right? What are the servers that we have used? We have used DSCP servers, right? So DSCP server I use correct. We use DSCP server to simply allocate IP addresses to other devices, right? Or assign IP addresses to other devices. Then we had web servers, right? So then we had DNS servers. DNS server right? DNS server it's going to help our computers to find out the domain names, IP addresses, right? When we give a domain name, the name server or DNS server is going to tell what is the IP address of this domain, right? Make a IP address right? Then similarly, likewise, we have file servers, right? If you want to store files in our organization or elsewhere, we have file servers, which means that server is going to have a dedicated task to do, which is to actually store files. නෑ අවුලක් නෑ ඔයාලා බලන්න අවුලක් නෑ එළියට ගිහලා බලලා වරෙන් අවුලක් නෑ මම මොනවද කියන්නේ නැහැ හරිද මේක කේස් එකක් නෑ මේ අපිත් ඒව තමයි හරිද so අපි ස්කූල් යනකොට ඒ දවස්වල මේ අපිට ෆෝන් අරන් යන්න පුළුවන් අවුලක් නෑ මම ඉන්ට්‍රැක්ෂන් එකකට ගියේ හින්දා ෆෝන් අරන් යන්න පුළුවන් right so ඒක අපි තරන් යනවා හරිද ගිහිල්ලා ඉතින් ඒක උන්නද ගණ මැත්ස් ටීච් කරනවා දැන් අපි ඉතින් ෆෝන් එක ලියාගෙන ඉන්නවා උඩ පල්ලෙහා Facebook එකේ උඩ පල්ලෙහා යනවා ඒ දවස්වල Facebook කර ඔච්චර හොඳට නෑ හරිද ඒ දවස්වල 2013 17 ඔය කාලේනේ හරිද so අපි උඩ පාලා යනවා shape එක. හරි. Then we were like ඉතින් අර කාගෙන හිටියා නම් හොඳයි කියලා හිතනවා. ඉතින් later on because whatever the thing that was there on the Facebook it's going to be there, right? But if we have missed the lesson, then we are going to have repercussions when you go to the exams, right? So then now we are feeling that as ආපෝ අපරාධ ඒ දවස්වල ඒව කරන්නේ නැතුව ඉන්න තිබ්බේ නම් තව පොඩ්ඩක් හොඳට ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන් නේ කියලා දැන් හිතනවා. හරිද? ඔයාලා හිතේ පස්සේ දවසේ අසල ආතල් එක දැන් ඔය වුණාද කියන්නේ අනිත් එක ඔය පිස්සු කෙල්ලානේ so then later in the life you will maybe realize මේක මේව කරේ නැත්නම් මේව කරත් හොඳයි නේද කියලා maybe පාඩේට හිතමු right so අවුලක් නැහැ හරිද මේ කිසි කේස් එකක් නැහැ මගේ ක්ලාස් එකේ අවුලක් නැහැ බලන්න ඕන නම් ඉතින් ගිහලා චටක් දාලා වරෙන් අවුලක් නැහැ හරි එල right so then after that right you have to explain what are the different types of servers that we have. Right, you can give a couple of examples, maybe 6 examples, 6 types of servers, maybe 6, 7 types would be enough. Right, let's say DNS server, what it does, a DSCP server, what it does, file server, what it does. Then you can say maybe email server, even we have printing servers. Then printing server, right? All of the local press like printing shops, right? So they will have large printers, right? And then what we are going to do is like, we are not just going to print 1-2 pages, right? We have to maybe print, let's say, 100,000 pages or 100,000 printouts, or maybe different printouts at different times. So in that case, what we can do is, now printer is going to have a specific speed where it can actually make these printouts. So in that case, this server is going to simply make sure that these printouts are being properly printed by the printer. And let's say if there's a power cut or something, right? So then now these days modern printers are actually having this capability in their cache, right? Current printout again when you got the power back, automatically it's going to print that particular document, right? So communication print එකක් තියෙන ඉතින් අපිට print outs එහෙම ගා ගන්න පුළුවන් right සමහර කට්ටිය දැන් ඒකේ operate කරන්න කවුරුත් නැහැ so we have to just use it right so in that case like some people don't know sometimes like when they change the machine sometimes you also messed up right? So sometimes some people, when they want to just take a one copy, they'll put maybe 100 copies. So then what's going to happen is when we just put papers, right, and when you just turn on the printer, automatically they are starting to print, right? So in that case, we have to go and clear the cache, right? Take it in a cache memory card, so we have to just clear it, right? So like that, we have what do you call it? Printing service with you, right? Then we have email servers, right? Our email protocols can discuss. We have discussed about email protocols, right? POP3, IMAP, we have discussed about those things, right? So in that case, we have email servers, right? Even when you guys are playing games, like we have game servers, right? Then web servers, likewise, you can give several set of examples. Then what you have to do is, now that part is uh, actually going to be a pass. Then this one, right? Explore different servers that are available in today's market with their specifications, and then recommend a server or servers for the above scenario, and you have to justify. So that means now when it comes to the server computers, guys, you can actually take your desktop computer or laptop computer and you can convert it as a server. Right? Back in the days when we were at all piece of building, we did not actually have a firewall. But firewall again, actually we did not have an actual hardware firewall. So what we have done was we have taken what do you call a computer, right? Then we have installed a firewall software, open source firewall software, a free what do you call firewall software, and then we were using that as a firewall, right? So I mean, we can do it like that as well, right? So we can actually turn your computer into a server. Now I think, sorry, doing programming subjects, right? You guys are going to create virtual servers inside your computers, right? SAMP websites, right? SAMP is our virtual server, right? So like website host karna, you're going to just put it inside a what you call hosting service providers service provider. But otherwise, when you're going to develop it, you're going to use a computer, right? So likewise, now if you want to buy a server computer, there are server computers available in the market, right? It's like going and buying a laptop. Now let's say if you want to buy a laptop, and let's say if your budget is 300,000, right? Which laptop would you buy? Right? Some people would say Asus ගන්නවා කියලා කියයි, සමහර කට්ටිය කියයි Acer ගන්නවා, සමහර කට්ටිය කියයි MSI ගන්නවා, සමහර කට්ටිය කියයි Dell ගන්නවා කියලා කියයි. එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්ද? MacBook Neo එකක් වගේ ගන්න පුළුවන් කියන්නේ. නැත්නම් used එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? I mean, different people would say different ones, right? Then, whenever you want to buy one, what you're going to do? You're going to explore. So as long as it's pink color, rosa laptop that's the only criteria that they are going to worry in most cases, right? Right? Traffic card that right? Then mama in the battery දැන් මම ග්‍රැෆික් කාඩ් බලන්නෙත් නැහැ RAM එක බලන්නෙත් RAM එක චුට්ටක් බලනවා දැන් මම බලන්නේ බැටරි එක මේක කොච්චරලා ඔන්න එකේ තියන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා මගේ බැටරි එක කෙලවිලා තියෙන එක දැන් වෙන ලැප්ටොප් ගන්න ඕනේ හරිද මම Mac එකක් ගන්නම් කියලා හිටියේ Apple ලා කෙලිය වැඩි හරිද උන් ගණන් වැඩි කරා දැන් හරියන්නේ නැහැ ඒක තේරුම් නැහැ ඩොලර් එකත් එක්ක බලනකොට පට්ට පාඩුවේ වැඩි ලක්ෂ 5ක් විතර එනවා එච්චර ගාණක් බෑග් එකේ දාගෙන ඉන්න එක හරියන්නේ නැහැ වැඩි හරිද ඕක ආදිසි මගේ අදින් කොහොමද මගේ අදින් වැටෙනවා හරිද වැටුනොත් එහෙම ඉවරයි කියලා Actually, option. So then I was also just checking what are the different laptops that are there, right? So I'm considering battery life these days. Battery right? So, but I think you guys, when it comes to guys, they are probably going to think about the graphic card that we have there, RAM, and the processor, how many cores. Right? So likewise, then what you're going to do is like, let's say if you have a HP computer for 200,000 with 16 GB RAM and let's say i5 processor with integrated graphics, and then you have a let's say Asus, let's say Vivo book let's say it's 250,000. That is also having the same specification, right? So in that case, what you do is you sometimes go with the HP one. Or HP ka gani samara out, right? කොල්ලෝ නම් දැන් හැබැයි මේ දවස්වල කල්පනා කරන්න යනවා තියෙන්නේ. Lenovo එකේ තියෙනවා මොකක්ද ඒක මට මතක නැහැ. ඉතින් අනේ gaming ඒවා තියෙනවනේ කීක ඒවා. So then you will go with that. But so then what you have to do is you are just going to do a comparison, right? So that is 250,000 and this is 200,000. So then you are going to go with 200,000. Why? Because say the what do you call the performance is same, but the prices are different. So therefore, the best one that is going to actually fit your budget is actually 200,000 one, right? That would be beneficial. So similarly, in this task, you have to do the same thing. You have to take a table, right? You have to take a table. I'll show you when the server information. So in the task 2.3, you can take a table, or else you can just explain these different devices separately as well. That is also okay, right? So you can have few columns. Then you can have the model number, or let's say whatever, right? Let's say model number is ABC, right? And let's say here we have the specification like, let's say RAM, and let's say what do you call a processor, right? Processor, and then we have another thing, memory, right? So likewise, we have this information, and then we have the cost. Let's say cost is $1,000. Then we have the XYZ brand, and then here we have the specifications, and here we have price as 1,200. So likewise, you have to take at least 4 to 5 servers that are available in the market, right? So for that, you can actually refer Dell website. Dell website, I'll show you. You can go to the Dell website, or else IBM. HP, so you can use whatever the site that you want, right? So when you go to these sites, they'll have the model numbers, they'll have the specification, and then also they have the price. So you have to put this information, right? Then first you have to put this information, then you have to do a comparison. Comparison එකක් කරලා මේකෙන් එකක් තමයි recommend කරන්න ඕනේ, right? You have to just recommend one server model for the organization, right? So depending on budget and depending on specification, this is the best server that I can recommend due to these factors for this organization. So likewise, you have to do that. If you do that, you are going to fulfill the merit criteria, right? Take a merit take up. That is a merit criteria. So if you have not done that, server types you are going to end up with a pass, right? So right? So let's see, I'm going to server information gun, right? So I'll go to the Dell website. You can go to the Google, right? Google you can type Dell servers, right? Then they have their website. Official Dell.com ලංකාවේ මම හිතන්නේ ලංකාවේ තියෙනවා, but I don't think that we have a very good range there. So then you can go to shop now option. Service වලට ගිහලා shop now එකට ගියාට පස්සේ මේ power edge T360 ඒක ගාන කීයද? $4,999. ඒ කියන්නේ ලක්ෂ ඩොලර් 5000ක් නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ approximately අපි ගමුකනේ ලක්ෂයක් sorry ඩොලර් 1000ක් කියන්නේ ලක්ෂ 3.5ක් විතර දෙන්නේ. But then 3.5 7 14 15 16 17, yeah, approximately 17.5 lakhs, right? ඒකේ වල මොනවද තියෙන්නේ කියලා. processor එක Intel Pentium G7400 තියෙනවා, right? Then RAM එක 32 GB with 5600 megahertz. Then hard drive එක 2 TB SATA 2 TB hard drive එකක් SATA NVMe එකක් SSD එකක් නෙවෙයි, right? Then they also have the what do you call 1 year basic support, right? Then we have another one. So here we have 32 GB RAM and 1 TB hard drive, and this is 4,459. The earlier one was 4,900. That had actually 2 TB hard, right? And then තව තියෙනවා මේක එක server models තියෙනවා, right? We can have rack servers කියලා තියෙනවා, right? There are like different server types. So you can just take a couple of them and then you can do a comparison, right? Just do the comparison. When you're going to do the comparison, you must do your comparison based on the price and performance. ප්‍රයිස් එකයි performance එකයි බේස් කරගෙන තමයි comparison එක කරන්න ඕනේ. හරිද? මේ server එක ලස්සනයි එහෙනම් මේක හොඳයි කියලා එහෙම ගන්න බෑ. හරිද? Price and based on price and performance. Based on these information that we have in the table, right? So එතන මේ ටික තමයි දාන්න තියෙන්නේ. right? ඒක කරොත් එහෙම මේක හරි. right? So that's what you have to do in task 2. right? Task 2 එකේ ඒක තමයි කරන්න තියෙන්නේ. right? Right. Then we'll come to the task 3. right? Task 3 එකට ආවට පස්සේ බලමු මොකද කරන්න තියෙන්නේ කියලා. Task 3 එකේ must දේවල් තමයි 3.1 3.1 3.3. right? මේ දෙක must 3.1 and sorry 3.1 3.2 and 3.3. A to the must. right? So 3.5 is 3.4 and 3.5 are optional, right? If you don't want a merit or a distinction, you can ignore it, right? Actually, 3.4 is a merit and 3.5 is a distinction. right? The 3.5 අනිත් ටික කරත් එහෙම merit, right? 3.4 කරේ නැත්නම් pass විතරයි හම්බෙන්නේ. right? Pass එකක් ගන්නත් 1.3 sorry 3.1 3.2 and 3.3 you have to do, right? Okay, so then we see what we have to do. Design a network blueprint using a modeling tool, right? So network blueprint means, guys, we have to actually now in the task 3 what we are going to do is we are going to actually plan our network. අපි task 3 එකේදී කරන්නේ network එක plan කරනවා. Then in the task 4 we are going to implement our network, right? So it's like first, whenever you want to build a house, you're going to start with the plan, right? So then you're going to get the approval and then only you are going to start to build the house. So similarly, here also we are going to do the same thing, right? So here, network blueprint means you have to design a plan for your network, right? But this plan, you have to only draw this for your new branch. I can't remember exactly what are the true branches that K got. I think K-Goal is the new one, right? Right. So, which means the network blueprint should be designed only for the K-Goal branch, right? Network blueprint only K-Goal branch because that is the branch where we are going to actually implement this network, right? The Colombo branch network is actually already a pre-existing network. So therefore, we don't need to have a blueprint for that, right? Therefore, in the task 3, you have to come up with the network blueprint only for the K-Goal branch. K-Goal branch එකට තමයි ඕනේ. හරිද? Right. So then කොහොමද blueprint එක අඳින්නේ? right? You can either use draw.io use කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? Or else you can use Microsoft Visual use කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? If you're having any issues with Microsoft Visual, then you can go with draw.io as well, right? I'll show you how to do that. Visual right? You can use your campus email address and you can access Microsoft Visual, right? You don't have to download it. You can just access it via the web browser, right? right? So soft email again log right? So mama log line again. So then what you can do is you can go to what do you call this app launcher. I think then you can click on more apps, right? Um, right. So then under the apps, here we have option called all apps. Just click on all apps. And here we have this thing called Microsoft Visual, right? So then you can just click on that on Visual, right? So then you can go with a blank drawing if you want, right? Blank drawing open කරගත්තොත් okay. Right. But I have what do you call design few diagrams. I'll just open one of them. Right. So when you open up the Microsoft Visual, like you'll have this kind of an interface, right? So here, what you have to do is first you have to add couple of shapes, right? Because at the moment, like we only have like some basic shapes. So what you have to do is you can click on this plus icon. Then you can here search network, right? So then mm, no, there's like specific package for the network, so we can just use that. Even for the ER diagrams, data flow diagrams, sequence diagrams, also like you can use this one. Or the software software engineering වලට use කරනකොටත් මේකේ තියෙන මේ tools use කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? Yeah, when you just scroll down, my diamond mark again, like those, I think for the premium subscription, which means we are not allowed to use that. The other ones we can use, right? Uh, so here we have here within computer network right? Here we have something called network, and then here we have different modules that we can add. So I have just added computers and monitors and networks and peripherals. I'm just going to add these two. So the method make like those two things got actually added. So when I click on computers and monitors, I have different PCs, and then if I go to the peripherals, then here I have access point, make it an access point, right? This is access point. And then here we have a router, right? And here we have a switch. Like this, we have different networking devices, right? So then what you have to do is, by using these networking devices, you have to draw a blueprint for your network, or else draw a plan for your network. දැන් අපි පබ්ලික් එක දාන්න ඒක ඊළඟ ආනේ තියෙන බෙට් අවරණ පොඩිලා ෂේප් එක දාගෙන එක කණුවක් තියෙනවා. mic එක. Right? Okay. So in the blueprint, what you have to do is you have to draw a rough sketch of your network, right? So which should actually represent the exact same number of networking devices that you're going to have in your actual network. And also your network blueprint should have the topology which you have recommended in the task one. Then task one topology is hybrid, right? Task 3 එකේ blueprint is star topology, right? So in that case, if you have a mismatch, again, you will not get a distinction or a merit. You have to just end up with a pass. Why? Because you have evaluated something else and then you have done something else, right? That's why, right? So in that case, in your network blueprint, you have to just add your, let's say, switches, right? And then let's say if we have our main switch right here, let's say if you have two main switches, so then we are going to connect them like this. Then we might have our router here, right? And then here you have to write their IP address, then subnet mask, then broadcast ID, default gateway, net ID. So here it's actually going to be net ID, sorry. Net ID, and then VLAN ID and usable range. So you have to have these information under the departments, and also you have to have the department name, right? Department 1. Then also within brackets, you have to specify how many users are there, right? So these information should be there in your network blueprint, right? So, and the way that you have connected these devices should represent the topology that you have recommended in your task 1. And task 1 එකේ mesh කිව්ව නම් මෙතනත් mesh තියෙන්න ඕන, right? And this blueprint and your actual implementation also should match. දැන් ඔයා කවුරු එතන බාස් කෙනෙක් කියලා නැත්නම් engineer කෙනෙක් civil engineer කෙනෙක් කියලා ඔයා plan එකක් කරලා දෙනවා තට්ටු තුනක ගයක් හදනවා කියලා. right? client ඇවිල්ලා බලනකොට එක තට්ටුවයි තියෙන්නේ. right? right? ඒකල ඔයා කියනවා අහුලන් වැඩි හින්දා ගෙදර පොඩ්ඩක් පාක් කරලා හැදුව shape එකකින් කියලා. right? ඒතර වැන් වැඩි හරියන්නේ නැහැ. right? So අන්න ඒ වගේ තමයි මේකෙත්. හරිද? So exactly as you have promised, you have to design and develop the exact same network that you promised to do so, right? So then what you can do is you can take these networking devices, and then here we have these connections. So you can just what you call select this connection tool, and then we can connect these computers like these devices like this, and then you have the text box option. So you can open up a text box and then you can type whatever the things that you want. Like this, you can what do you call, draw it, right? So here I have a sample that I have actually designed for another batch, right? So within, right? So within ID department, 50 users, right? VLAN ID, net ID, default gateway, subnet mask, and also usable range should be there. Usable range should be there. So මේ වගේ තියෙන්න ඕනේ. Right? Department names and their requirements and the exact topology. Now here I have actually used mesh topology. So therefore, this is the diagram that you should add under task 3.1. Task 3.1 එක වාඩ් කරන්න ඕනේ network blueprint එක, right? Which means something that has been drawn using either draw.io, Visho hari, ChatGPT එකෙන් නම් ගන්න එපා, ඒක හරියන්නේ නැහැ වැඩි. Because some people are going to write the prompt and they are asking the ChatGPT to generate the image that doesn't work. ඒක හරියන්නේ නැහැ. Shortcuts හරියන්නේ නැහැ ඒක. So ඉතින්ද ඔයාලට එක draw කරන්න වෙනවා. අර ChatGPT එකෙන් අරන් දැම්මොත් එහෙම නම් fail කරනවා. එහෙනම් හරියට එයා කනලා දාන්න draw.io එකෙන් බැිනම් පෑනක් අරගෙන කවන්න කොලේ කැඳලා හරි ෆොටෝ එකක් දාන්න අවුලක් නැහැ. හරිද? ඒක සෙට් නැත්නම් වැඩි. හරිද? So එහෙම හරි කරන්න, that's better because with ChatGPT and all, like they want ChatGPT has Gemini hari, they want generate proper images. ඒක හරියන්නේ නැහැ වැඩි. ඔයාලා try කරලා බලන්න ඕන. හරිද? ගොඩක් ළමයි try කරලා තියෙනවා හැබැයි මෙච්චර කරලා හරි ගියේ නැහැ වැඩි. හරිද? So therefore like you should have this, right? So that's what you have to do under task 3.1, right? Right. Coming back to the topic, then we'll discuss about task 3.2, right? 3.2 again, මොකක්ද කරන්න තියෙන්නේ කියලා බලමු, right? List down all the hardware and software requirements for the system and configuration information such as IP addresses and VLAN information and etc. Right? That means now here you have to list down how many switches are going to be there in your network, how many routers are going to be there in your network, right? And how many access points are going to be there in your network. And when it comes to these computers, what are the different software requirements? Now, for an example, let's say if you are going to put computers into this lab, right? So we can just put the computers then, and they just run. No, right? We need an operating system. Then we need some basic software. So you can just put some basic softwares that you are going to use in our day-to-day life, right? Then more importantly, මම ඔය ටිකට වඩා ගොඩක්ම බලන්න මොකක්ද කරන්න task 3.2 එකට ආවට පස්සේ IP and VLAN information, which means when it comes to IP and VLAN information, even though you have drawn the blueprint only for the K-goal branch, when it comes to the IP and VLAN information, you have to have list of IP addresses that you're going to use for the Colombo branch and what are their VLANs and IP address information. And then we need to have another set of what you call IP addresses which we are going to use with K-goal branch. That is a must. ඒක අනිවාර්යෙන් දාන්න ඕන. හරිද? And if these IPs are incorrect, then what IP හදාගෙනකොට මැදින් වැරදුනා කියලා හිතන්නකෝ. එතන මොකද වෙන්නේ? Hey. Right? Because this is pass criteria. Make a pass criteria. Designer network කියලා තියෙනවා P5 criteria එක. P5 හරි 4 හරි මට මතක නැහැ මේ දෙකෙන් එකක්. හරිද? So these two things are going to get covered in P4, P5. I can't remember exactly. So you must do that properly. So you can table එකක් use කරන්න. K-goal branch. Then you have the department name in this column, net ID, broadcast ID, usable range, default gateway, VLAN ID, likewise, then you can fill those information, right? So, and when I'm checking your assignment, I'm just going to check whether these IP addresses are there in your actual network. සමහර කට්ටිය කරන්නේ Wi-Fi එකට එනකොට යාළුවගේ network එක උස්සන් ගෙනවා මගේ එක වැඩ නැහැ කියලා. හරිද? එතකොට වාගේ තියෙන IP යාළුවගේ තියෙන IP දෙකක්. හරිද? එතකොට වැඩේ කේස්. හරිද?
ඒතර මං කියන මේකේ තියෙන network එක අරන් වරන් කියලා. හරිද? ඒකට කිල්ල එන්න ඕනේ ඒක අරගෙන. හරිද? ඒකින්. So therefore it's really important, right, to actually do your IP address calculations properly. Right? It's really very important. Right? Right. So then you can use a table, and then you have to put IP address information for both branches, right? IP address information branches දෙකේම දාන්න ඕනේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ විතරක් නෙමෙයි කොළඹ එකේවත් දාන්න ඕනේ. Right? So in that case, like let's say if you have selected 192.168.1.0 for the K call, then you can select 192.168.2.0 network for the Colombo branch, and then do the subnetting likewise. Right? එහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So then you have to put them in the network, and the IP addresses that are there in the table and the network blueprint also should match. ඔක්කොම ටික match වෙන්න ඕනේ. මම හැමතැනම බලනවා. ඔය ටික. Right? And තියෙන තව test cases කියලා එහෙම දාන්න. සමහර කට්ටියගේ test cases වල තියෙන එකක් අර ඉබ්බ තියෙන තව එකක්. එහෙම case තියෙන එහෙම බෑ, like has to be your system. යාළුවන්ගේ උස්සන් ගිහලා match එක ගන්න බෑ. හරිද? ඒක හරියන්නේ නැහැ. හරිද? මගේ ක්ලාස් එක නම් මම මොනවද කියන්නේ නැහැ නේ උඹලට. හරිද? ඒ වගේම තමයි මාකින් කරනකොටත් එහෙම තමයි. හරිද? පොඩ්ඩක් සැරට බලන්න. හරිද? බලන්න කලින් batches වලින්. හරිද? ඉතින් ඒක හරියට ඕනේ. හරිද? අපෝ මෙච්චර break down එකකුත් දීලා ජෝක් කරගන්න වෙන වැඩක් නැහැ නේ. හරිද? ඒ හින්දා. right? Then we have to have something called a network maintenance schedule. Right? So maintenance schedule එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ guys, actually if you take you as a person, you guys all have your maintenance schedules, right? So what are the maintenance schedules that what are the maintenance? As a human, what are the as a human being? Is not sleeping. Yes, right. Yeah, sleeping is a very important thing, right? So different people will have different sleeping schedules. Now, for an example, right, I might be, let's say, going to sleep at around, let's say, right? Right? ඊට කලින් 12ට නිදාගත්ත පෙරේද 12ට නිදාගත්තා ඒකලා 6ට විතර හැරියා. right? එක එක වෙලාවට මට එහෙම ස්පෙෂල් ෂෙඩියුල් එකක් කියලා නෑ. but some people අපි ගමුකෝ මෙයාම past president මෛත්‍රීපාල. right? 10ට දොයි. right? 10ට නිදා ගන්න. right? right? So according to his agenda, he is going to sleep at around 10 o'clock. Right? 10 p.m. Right? I don't know when he's going to wake up, but let's say he's going to sleep at around 10 p.m. Right? Then what else? Brushing your teeth is a maintenance, right? Breathing, eating, right? So all these things are actually what maintenance tasks, right? So now let's say if you take brushing your teeth, right? So different people will have different agendas. Some people might say, okay, I'm only going to brush my teeth once a day, right? There might be some people who might say, okay, I'll brush my teeth twice a day, right? Or else some people might be there who are just going to say, okay, I'm going to brush my teeth 3 times a day, right? There might be some people who are going to say, especially like when you guys are going to schools and then we have holidays and all, okay, once a week, once a week. Once a week, you are going to brush your teeth, right? Once a month, you have put a case, right? Then, let's say, taking a bath, right? 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 They're just going to, let's say, bath every day, right? Some people, once a week, or maybe 2 times a week, 3 times a week. Once a month, right? Once every 2 months. Right? Right? Those kind of people are there. Their agenda, right? So just like that, now when it comes to organization also, guys, the maintenance schedule is actually really important. Why? Because now let's say last week I think some of you guys complained me that whenever you guys are going to open up or turn on your switch on your computers, you guys claim that okay, your Windows is getting updated, right? So in that case, that's because we have not properly regulated the maintenance schedule for Windows updates, right? Software updates we have not regulated then, right? So now, since it's a lecture, we won't be actually going to have a very big problem, right? And since we have time to complete the modules and even recording and all, some people use it as excuse as well not to do the what practicals that I'm doing in the class, right? So whatsoever, but if it is a corporate environment, let's say if it is a CEO's computer, who's going to have a very important business meeting with some other company or some other client, when he's going to log into the meeting, automatically all of a sudden his computer is going to start to update the videos. And then the client is going to leave the meeting, right? With a disappointment. So in that case, it also very big loss. That's what cleaning process is. So in the morning, before you guys come to the class, the cleaning staff is going to clean the classrooms. Right? Classrooms to clean them. Right before 8:30, they clean. සමහර වෙලට සමහර කාන්ටර් පොඩ්ඩක් ඉස්සලා පොඩ්ඩක් විදියට දෙලා ලීව් කරන වෙලාව තියෙනවා. සමහර classroom සමහර blocks. Right? Then I think they are supposed to clean the washrooms once every, sorry, 3 times a day or 4 times a day. Right? So that's their schedule and they have times. 4:30 4:30 time එකට තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ clean කරන්න ගන්න. ඒකට හැම floor එකේම washrooms occupied. ආය යන්න බෑ කිව්වා. ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්න ඕනේ. Right? කාටවත් දැන් ඉතින් ළමයි යනවා. බේගෙත් පාල පල්ලෙහි ඉස්සල්ලා කියලා යනවා. Right? ස්ටාෆ් එක නම් පාලෙ මේක කරන් තියෙනවා. ඒක නම් හවුලක් නැහැ. The other ones, they are going to clean it at the same time because I think their shift is going to finish at around 4:30 or so. That's what, right? So now for that also we have a schedule, right? So likewise, what you have to do is you have to design a maintenance schedule for the network which you are going to implement at the company, right? So now when it comes to a computer environment, what are the different maintenance tasks that we can do? Now if you take a mobile phone, what are the maintenance tasks that we do? Huh? Charging the mobile phone. Then charge කරලා නැත්නම් use කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? Yeah. Huh. Backups, right? Software updates, right? Then the next problem is how frequently you are going to do that. Now, if you maybe take iPhone users, how frequently you charge your mobile phones? I think majority iPhone users make 2 times, 3 times a day. 2 times a day, right? 2 times again, unless you have one of the Pro Max Plus, one very big version, then very expensive one. Charger right? So unless you have a latest mobile phone, then you have to go with what do you call? You have to charge it couple times, right? Then my laptop take an example, like battery right? Whenever I get charging time, always charge it, right? So therefore, like when it comes to the maintenance schedule, you can come up with a table, right? Then you can have the maintenance task, right? Let's say updating your softwares, right? So in that case, okay, updating your software, I'm not going to write it. So let's say that is task A. So then how frequently you are going to do that? Whether you are going to do it daily, right? Or else whether you are going to do it weekly, right? Or else monthly, or else quarterly, right? Or else annually, right? So likewise, let's say if you are going to do it weekly, so in that case, you can put a tick here, right? Then let's say checking the network cables and all, because this is a network related thing now. So then you might be doing that once every, okay, let's say daily basis. If you have rat problem, let's say you have to do it daily basis, right? Because when we were at the tall building, we had a huge rat problem, right? So one day I had a morning lecture. So what I usually do is there's a mobile phone, it does contact a landline with people. So what I do is I'll take the cable off from the phone and I'll just plug the Ethernet cable to my laptop. Then I'm just going to use fiber connection. So that is fast. One day when I just plug the cable, there was no internet. Then I just pull the cable little. So then the cable came to my hand actually. It was actually bitten by a rat and I have that cable got destroyed. Right. So then we had to replace the entire cable again. Right. So in that case, okay, so let's say we are going to do that daily basis. Here you have to write the task, you have to write what is the exact task in your table. Right? Let's say we are going to do it daily. We are going to put a tick. Taking backups. Right? When it comes to networking devices, guys, actually we can take the configuration file that we have inside the
device, right? And then we can actually keep it. So if something happens to our network device, we don't have to spend hours configuring that device back again. Instead, we can simply take a new device, replace it, and put that configuration file there, and it will have the same configurations as before. Right? That benefit is there. Right? So then let's say we are going to do that month. So then we can put a tick. So like this, you have to have at least 8 maintenance tasks in your maintenance schedule, right? Minimum 8. You can have as many as you want. And this is a pass. Make a dollar the fail. This is a pass, right? Right? Maintenance schedule is a must, right? I can give it 1.1, sorry, 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3 are must. These two are optional, right? So we'll have a small break, right? After that, we'll discuss 3.4 and 3.5 and task 4, and also the presentation that you have to do. Right.
Right. So first of all, you have good news. The networking assignment deadline has been extended to 19th, I guess, right? So it's on 19th, but you have programming, sorry, PP1 on 15th or 16th, I guess, yeah. Right. So the data may be right. Right. So far we have discussed up to 3.3. So next one is 3.4. So 3.4 means prepare a user feedback form, collect feedback from the users, right? So this is a merit criteria. Then I make a feedback form එකක් දාලා තිබෙන දිනොත් pass වෙන්න පුළුවන් assignment එක. You can still pass it, but you can't go for a merit, right, or a distinction, right? So here what you have to do is, now you're going to initially have the network blueprint, and also you're going to have the IP subnetting information and the topologies that you're going to use and the different cable types that you're going to use and the number of devices that you're going to have, right? So what you have to do is, based on that information, you have to prepare a small quiz, right? Questions questions පහක් වගේ දාලා පොඩි feedback form එකක් හදාගන්න. Just create a small feedback form by using the information that you have collected up to the task tree, which means in your feedback form, you can have the network blueprint, and then you can have a short description about the network, like what is the topology that you're using, what are the cables that you're using, and etc. And then what you have to do is, you have to actually ask few questions from the users in order to collect their feedbacks. Now, for an example, like, okay, when it comes to these departments, we have enabled Wi-Fi, right? And when it comes to these departments, we have given fast Ethernet connections. Or when it comes to this network, we have given this topology. When it comes to this department, we have given this subnet mask or this subnetwork. So up to this many users, we can have it. So then we have to ask, like, what do you guys think, right? So now, then what you have to do is, you have to first come up with the feedback form, and then you have to give it to your couple of friends, and then you have to get that feedback form filled with your friends' feedbacks. Or else automatically වෙන නමක් දාලා fill කරන්නත් පුළුවන්, අවුලක් නැහැ. හරිද? You can ඔයාලා කොහොමද එහෙමනේ කරන්නේ? Right? You'll just use a couple of dummy emails, and you'll just what do you call, put a couple of different names, and you'll just fill it out. That's also all right. I mean, that is a requirement, right? So then in the task 3.4, you have to show the feedback form, and also you have to show the responses that you have collected. We need at least 3 to 4 responses, at least. Responses තුනක් හතරක්වත් ඕනේ අඩුම තරමින්, right? So when it comes to creating this when it comes to creating this feedback form, you have two options. First one is, you can use a word processing software like Microsoft Word, and then you can put a what do you call, image of your network blueprint, and then you can write a description, and then you can ask questions. I mean, write different questions, and then you can give it to your friends, and you can collect the feedbacks. That is option number one. Option number two is you can go with Google Forms. Well, Google Forms use කළා තියෙනවා, right? Google Forms වලින් guys ඔයාලට පුළුවන් quiz එකක් හදන්න. Then you can have a URL link, and then you can share the URL with your friends. You don't have to give the Word document. Your friends do not have to open it and edit it and do these kind of things. And at the end, you're going to get analysis as well, like what majority has told, right? So like that kind of analysis is also going to be there. So which is actually going to be a help for you when it comes to completing task 3.4. Because just by having the user feedback form, don't get you a right? Just by collecting the feedback won't get you a merit, right? You have to collect the feedbacks, and also then after that you have to analyze the feedbacks, and then you have to write down the consent, right? What they have told, right? ඉතින් මොකද කරන්නේ ට්‍රැවල් කරනවද? ඒත් ඇහෙන්නේ නැහැ උඩ. හරි. හැබැයි පුතේ දාලා තිබ්බේ නැත්නම් එහෙමනම් ආයෙ ෆේල් නෑ. 10 පාරක් විතර ෆේල් කරනවා ඈ. එහෙම ළමයි ඉන්නවා තාමත් දැන් ඔයාලා කියද 124 නේ. ඒතර ඔයාලට බැච් තව 24කට විතර කලින් ආපු කට්ටියත් ඉන්නවා තාම ෆේල් නෑ. හතරකම ෆේල් නෑ. 100 එකේ කට්ටිය තාම එනවා හොයාගෙන මාව. හරිද? තාම වයිව් එක තාම ෆේල් සමහර කට්ටිය 10 පාරක් විතර කරලා. ඒතර දැන් උන්ට ග්‍රැජුවේෂන් යන්න බැරි වෙලා තියෙනවා. හරි. යවන්න නැහැ ඉතින් ඒකට මාක්ස් නැහැ. එතකොට ට්‍රාන්ස්ක්‍රිප්ට් එකක් දෙනකොට HND එක පටන් ගන්න තියෙන්නේ 2026 වල බට් ඉවර කරලා තියෙන්නේ let's say 2029 විතර. ඒතර ඔබ කොහොමද අවුරුදු දෙකේ HND එක අවුරුදු 3ක් කරේ කියලා එම්බසි එකකින් අහනවා. හරිද? so ඒ issues තියෙනවා හරිද? එහෙනම් ඒක බලා ගන්න හරියට හරිද? so and transcript also little important because there you have all your marks හැම එකම pass තිබ්බොත් එහෙම you are going to fall under average category, right? So in that case, there's a higher probability that you might get rejected from a job interview, right? Unless you have your own company or unless you have very good connections, it's difficult to get the internship these days. Internships, right? Last week, I had Mobitel CEO, right? පොරමාත් එක චටත් දාගෙන ඉතින් මම කියන පුතා දැන් IT මොනවාද ඉන්ටර්න්ෂිප්ස් නෑ නේ දැන් IT වල වැඩි කියලා මම කිව්වා. ඒකට අංකල් මං කිය කිහිට ඊට පස්සේ ඔව් මගේ ගාවත් 25ක් දාලා ඉන්නවා මෙලෝ රහක් නෑ කියලා බහිනවා දාගෙන පොත්. හරිද? ඒක නෙට්වර්කින් කරන කට්ටිය තමයි ගොඩක් ඉතින්. right? ඒකල මම හිතන්නේ පර්මනන්ට් උත් කරනවා මම හිතන්නේ කීප දෙනෙක්. right ඉන්ටර්න් අරගෙන. so එතකොට ඉතින් like let's say 25ක් 30ක් ඒ වගේ තමයි ගන්න බැච් එකකට ඉන්ටර්න් ලොකු කම්පැනි එකකට සාමාන්‍යයෙන්. And they'll just take batch wise, like let's say 25-30 people at once per year or so, right? So then, like if you take the majority, like it's very difficult to find out a job. I mean, unless you have personal contact. Or check I think you have to have good transcripts. Samara katti plan karna A level sorry HND internships karande. That's also good, right? But you have to put some effort in, right? Right. So in the transcript, it's called like a or what I did me back a little money, right? Then dollar either 340 something, right? 341 the go money then, right? So dollar mage year dollar visa capital but dollar visa 6,900 and something. Again, almost 7,000. $20 means 7,000 now. Pay number, right? So I don't know, right? So what I end up school like okay, apply transcript is a good thing. HND kalona rate and pull UK wagi and pull top up salad. So illa check and pull right? Dubai matina mangitanide. Dubai, Qatar, epatina mangitanide. Right? I think there also you can go and study. Haridam done never. You can, but the prices are a little cheap, I guess. What the UK will not prices are Dubai, mangitan, Dubai, Qatar, epatina mangitanide. Right? So then coming back to the feedback forms, if you just included the feedback forms, I just feedback form එක විතරක් දාලා තිබ්බොත් එහෙම සමහරවල් අයම කරනවා. I'll just put the photo. So if they have just put the photo, this criteria is not going to get fulfilled. You have to design a feedback form. You have to give it to your friends, or you can fill it with dummy data. That's all right. So then you have to analyze the given feedbacks, and then you have to write a conclusion. Analysis part should be there. So then only this 3.4 is going to get fulfilled, right? So if you want to create a Google form, what you can do is like you can go to your Google account, and then you can Google the gilla weathering
apps click karla, then you can click on apps and then you can scroll down and then you can click on forms. Maybe the forms here, right? Forms click කරන්න පුළුවන්. So then here we'll get forms. මගේ හදපු එකක් ඇති මම එකක් පෙන්නන්නම්. I think here we have this one. Right? So here we can have a topic and then here we can have an image එක download දෙනවා. So we can add the image like this and then we can have like MCQ type questions, right? So then at the end what you can do is you can click on this link generation icon and you can generate a link and you can share it with your friends. Right? So I'll just open up a private browsing window and I'll just paste it here. Right? So then I can just fill it out on my SQL and submit, right? I'll just submit it. Right? So then if I again close this and if I go to this one, here I have responses in me. So responses are collected automatically, right? And then it's going to show like who are the people that have agreed with the given configurations and who have not agreed. Likewise, it's going to show this analysis part as well, right? So if possible, you can go with this one as well. Google Forms forms use karana pulwan, right? But if you think okay, this is too very complex, then you can go with the Word document as well. That is okay, but then you have to fill it and add the screenshots, right? Add the screenshots of the filled feedback forms. And also you have to write the analysis part. Without analysis, this part is not completed. Feedback form okay, task completed, but that is not, right? Then if you want, you can write a critical evaluation. Critical evaluation means you can justify why you have selected those IP addresses, why you have selected these kind of maintenance tasks, why you think these things are important, and why you have asked these kind of questions in the feedbacks. Likewise, you can actually justify it, right? Or you can write a critical evaluation. So with that, task 3 is over, right? And then task 3 is given, right? Then task 4. Task 4 task 4.1 is actually implementing the network. Implementing means you open up the packet tracer and design networks for both branches, Colombo and K-Call both, right? And you have to connect both branches and both branches should be able to communicate with each other as well, right? So you have to come up with a fully functional network. So when it comes to the Viva, if your network is not functioning properly, again you have to do that, which means it's failed. Like there was software හදලා වැඩ කරේ නැත්නම් ඒක fail නේ software එක වැඩ කරන්නේ නැහැ. පොඩ්ඩක් වැඩ කරනවා සර් කියලා එහෙම බෑ හරිද? So හරියට වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ ඉතින් ඔක්කොම. right? Branch මොනවාද departments දෙකක් වැඩ කරනවා 8ක් වැඩ නැහැ. හරිද? වැඩ කරන එකක් වෙන්නන්න දේව හරියන්නේ මම කියන එක තමයි වෙන්නන්න ඕනේ. හරිද? When you come to the web, I'll just ask you to just okay, just randomly I'll say okay, go to the department, okay, do this. I'll just tell you those kind of things, right? So you don't have to necessarily bring a presentation when you are coming for the Viva. Mata ඕනේ නැහැ, but document එක දාපන්. හරිද? For the document, just put it as evidence. When you are coming to the Viva, just bring the packet tracer. That's enough. Right? I don't ask for the slides. Right? So here you have to complete the configurations and design. Then you have to include the configuration screenshots. So when you're going to include the configuration screenshots, now let's say if you are going to create VLANs inside this switch and this one, and let's say BTP on this one, and this switch. So in that case, you don't have to put 3 screenshots enabling VTP on 3 department switches. That is not necessary. At few sample code screenshots are enough, which means one DSCP pool creating process and VTP, VLAN, sub interfaces, those kind of things, routing. Just that few snaps, that's enough, right? Better if you can label them. What it is can label right? Then develop test cases, right? So actually 1.1, 1.2, and 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3 are must. right? Pass and 80 only 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3. 4.4 and 5 optional, right? So pass in the radical shape in the blue. But ඉතින් හදිසි වෙලා මදි වගේ කියලා හිතන කියලා. එතකොට let's say දැන් සමහර කට්ටිය මේව කරලා මේ කියනවා දැන් time එක තියෙනවා but some people are going to do it, they are going to start the task one and they are going to make the task as perfect as possible, right? Then they are going to waste, let's say 80% or 70% of the time duration that they are going to have for the entire assignment, and then for the other task they don't have time. So therefore, at the end, somehow you're going to do late submission now. So anyway, you're going to get a pass. So in that case, you can just skip the other ones and then you can go ahead with that. In case if you don't have sufficient time, now I think you have only. Sati, then other one hitting them balano, right? Other TV series take episode take to Napala. Hit a patangan assignment take Karanatang, other alu take a game parakala, assignment take next day. On next day, you'll be like, Harry, okay. Other Kohameli, other Nidhagan, hitting them, hit a thing, pull letter. Right? So, likewise, that next day will never come. The Matap, the Mother Zemsura, PhD proposal like a deal in the dinner on Tamaki living. The monkey hit the Italian uncle and other Italian uncle, and then the monk was another lecture and every Malian. So, like, suppose any car and do the Mamat, then they got people mark excuses that I hit a shape. The same man, they have only one, but last moment they can go and had the woman up in a check. Right? So, test cases. Test cases are out of us, guys. You have to put actual screenshots of the test that you have done and the actual result screenshots. සමහර කට්ටිය ටෙස්ට් එකේ රිසල්ට් එකට කරන්නේ බල අයිස් ගහන්න ෂේප් එකේ network එක වැඩ කරන්නේ නැති වුණාම test result you are going to type pass fail this one you are just going to type it. But here I need the screenshots. I'll show you guys example. Like an example, better to take a picture of this if you want, right? I'll show that to you. How to design a test case. Right. For the networking assignment, I think for the software ones and all, you can just what do you call type the this thing, the actual output. So for the test cases, like we are going to have a topic. For an example, let's say if you are going to test DSCP, you have to test multiple different things, right? All the configurations that you have done in the network, you have to do that, right? You have to test it. So DSCP, you are going to check whether the computers that we have in different departments are getting IP addresses from the DSCP. That is the test that we are going to do first test case, right? So then we are going to have a test case number and then the test, expected output, and as the actual output, we have to put the image, right, of your test result, right? So let's see what is our first task or first test that we are going to do. Checking whether department A computers are getting IP addresses from DSCP. So as we expecting, department A computers should get IP addresses because according to your assignment requirements, they have specifically mentioned that you have to obtain IP addresses from DSCP when it comes to client computers. Samar lamai type karang arangeno IP addresses computers. Wrong. That is wrong. Right? You have to do it. Right? So you should. Amaris kenikuna. So then here as an evidence, I have added a screenshot. Then department B computer center IPs in right? Now let's say if your department A has 10 computers, you are not going to check all 10 computers. Just check one computer and put the screenshot. Then go to the second department, third department, likewise. That is a one test that you can do, right? So DSCP test taken, right? I don't know, right? Connectivity test එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. Ping command එක ගාලා බලන්න පුළුවන් whether your department A can communicate with B, whether A can communicate with C, whether department A can communicate with D, likewise. So that is another one. So if you have configured a web server,
then you can have a separate test case for web access. If you have enabled VTP, you can have another test case for VTP, right? So at least 4 types of test cases or 3 to 4 types of test cases are needed, right? So DSCP is a must, ping is a must, and VTP is a must, right? Web server එක right? So, and I need it in this format. May format එක ඕනේ. හරිද? Because if you put it in a different format, right? I mean, you can maybe if you don't want to go with the table format, you can type these things fine, but somehow this information should be there, right? With actual screenshots. Table එකේ දාන්න නිකන් කම්මැලි ආපු එක set වෙන්නේ නැහැ කතයි වගේ කියලා හිතනවා නම් then you can use a different layout, that's fine, but somehow this information should be there. That's what I'm expecting, right? Not the format, right? So that is test cases. So which is a pass. I think this is P8 criteria, right? Then 4.4 recommend potential future enhancements for the network system with justifications, right? So which means here what you have to do is you have to recommend what are the future enhancements that we can do to this network, right? So in that case, if you just write it in like, point format, upgrading to fiber optic cables, right? What do you call enabling security or establishing VPN between 2 branches. Likewise, if you just go with a very short statement, you won't actually get a merit, right? You have to explain how that is going to be useful and what it is, right? So I think one of you guys actually texted me and asked like distinction. So if you follow this breakdown, you can end up with a fail or a distinction, right? Depending on the way you answer. Because like, let's say, when it comes to test cases, you are just going to take, okay, ping test, test case, test case, right? It's like, let's say you're going to say, okay, you ate in the morning, right? But then what you have done is like, okay, you have just ate a very small biscuit. And biscuit, right? Right? Somehow you have ate something, but it's actually not sufficient, right? So likewise, so when you're answering questions also same, right? So therefore, what you have to do is you have to make sure the answers that you are going to write in the assignments are sufficient enough to get you the grade that you're expecting to get, right? So otherwise, if you just write it in one point, we will not give marks, right? We'll consider that as fail, right? Or we will not give that particular grade, right? So therefore, like future enhancements, you are upgrading to IPv6 and then a point form without any justifications. Merit means you have to justify it, right? Then finally, you can write a conclusion. What do you write in the conclusion? Another conclusion. මේක මම කාටවත් කියපු නැති කතාව මං එන අමාරුවේ මේ නෙට්වර්ක් එක හැදුවේ අපේ ගෙදර ලයිට් තිබ්බෙත් නැහැ නේ අල්ලපු ගෙදර අයියා තමයි උදව් කරේ ඒව දාන්නේ මොකද ඒව දාන්නේ ඇක්නොලෙජ්මන්ට් එක හරිද ඒව දාන්නේ නැහැ කන්ක්ලූෂන් එක සමහර කට්ටිය ඕවල් දිනනවා right right උදව් කරපු හැමෝටම thank you ඕවා දාන්නේ acknowledgement එක right you're going to put those stuff in the acknowledgement conclusion means the overall work conclusion like what you have done here right අපි අර කියන්නේ executive summary එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ right we call that as executive summary like what you have done in this assignment right what you have learned like what are the configurations that you have applied right what are the things that you have done so that's what you have to explain here justify your conclusion right and then for that also you can actually inside the conclusion itself you can achieve future enhancements if you want otherwise you can have it as 2 separate sections then the most important thing, references, right? If you've done all these things up to, let's say, 4.5 and not put this one, guess what is the rate that you're going to get paid, right? So reference is a must, right? So then guys, with 4.5 task, 4 is over. The task 5, what you have to do is you have to simply come up with a presentation, couple of presentation slides.
just have your network, then you have your IP addresses, and you have your blueprint, and just what are the departments and all. Just put those kind of things and just come up with a small presentation for the network. Just assume that you are going to present the Cisco Packet Tracer network to an audience, and in order to explain it, you can come up with slides, right? So I'm not going to check it. You can just put whatever you want. I don't care, right? It's just a requirement, right? Just have a presentation slides there. I won't give you any trades according to the slide layout or design, but slides should be there. Slides එක තියෙන්න ඕනේ. නේද? තියෙන්න ඕන. නම දාලා දැන් ඔයාලා කරන්නේ professional practice කියලා PP එකේ කරන්නේ. නැද්ද? Some students do. What about you guys? Still no. Next thing. So somehow you're going to do it now, right? So then you have done that now. So then fine. So just do that. Then references. Then after the references, you can have another section called appendix. Do you know what are we going to put in appendix? Right? I don't get the meaning out of that, right? Single mother can appendix at that. Undu kuchi again. Right? Right? So I mean, in Sri Lanka, I think like in some countries, like when children were born, they're going to get operated, and that part of the body is going to get separated, right? Because of that only people are going to get appendicitis, right? Whenever we eat different stuffs, what's going to happen is some of the waste are going to get digested, and some things are not going to get digested, and those things are going to get stored in the appendix, right? So then sometimes we can get infections, right? Appendicitis, so then you have to cut it and you have to then operate it, right? So I mean, and some people are actually going to die, right? Hurried operation bleed right? So him right? But plastic internal bleeding, right? So I mean, not because of the appendicitis, because of the operation, right? So in assignment, inside the appendix, what you have to do is you have to simply put whatever the screenshots that you have taken, which you couldn't attach in the assignment body, right? Taken then on screenshots, configuration screenshots. Like to say you have taken 100 configuration screenshots. I'm just telling, right? So then let's say you have only put let's say 50 of them in the assignment, right? Then the remaining 50, if I think it is going to be wasted, you can put them in the appendix. But proper labeling is needed, right? So for an example, right? Okay, VLAN configuration. Then you can have the screenshots. Not a must. If you want, you can do that, right? Then likewise, you can put whatever the things that you couldn't attach in the assignment body in the appendix section, right? So if you are going to maybe write a research document or a research paper or something, or a professional what you call document, then you have to link the appendix to the relevant section. For an example, let's say in task 4 you have done VLAN configurations, so then you are going to add a couple of images, and then you are going to write within brackets, okay, the remaining content is what you call appended under appendix section 2.1, 2.3. Likewise, we are just going to have a reference point. So in that case, if I just want to check more information, I can refer it, but for your level, that is not necessary. Appendix section right? But references is needed. Reference dana use the Harvard digger. You have to use Harvard referencing style. So Harvard digger within you can go to the references, right? Here in this drop down list, you have to select Harvard, right? Harvard digger select right? So don't select other things, because in that case, the way that is going to show the references are going to be different. The AP select right? IEEE select right? So then that is also another thing to actually memorize, right? Because if you have selected the wrong referencing style also, you might have to resubmit again. Style case. Because what's going to happen is at the end of your semesters, we are going to pick several samples and we are going to send them to the Pearson. So Pearson එකකින් බලනවානේ මේ මොකද මේ UK නැතුව වෙන එකක් දාලා තියෙන වෙන රෙෆරන්ස් එකක් දාලා තියෙන එක බලනවානේ ඒගොල්ලෝ right ඒගොල්ලෝගේ ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එක තමයි Harvard එක that's all එහෙම නැතුව වෙන අවුලක් නැහැ right එක එක කැම්පස් වල එක එක දැන් ගවර්න්මන්ට් කැම්පසස් වල ශ්‍රී ලංකාවල යූස් වෙන්නේ APA කියන රෙෆරන්ස් එක right මට මතකයි මම මාස්ටර්ස් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම්ස් වල මෙහි යූස් වෙන්නේ IEEE. So likewise, different programs have different referencing styles according to university requirements. Now here you guys are doing a Pearson program. So according to that, you have to do that, right? So that's it, right? Any questions? Questions? Questions, right? So any doubts in other areas? What we call obtain feedbacks from 5 people. Out of 5, let's say 3 people have agreed to given configurations and others have raised concerns when it comes to these areas. So therefore, we consider it to add them in the future for now. Something like it's just the money. Detail, yeah, don't know why something is down at the case. And I think someone else asked packet price version. Better to go with the latest version. I think my one is also actually not a latest version. You can use any version, that's all right. Even an old version is going to be compatible with these configurations. For your level, first semester, no issue, right? AI use karan depa, right? GPT එකෙන් දාලා බැලුවට කමක් නැහැ but එහෙම දාලා දැන් අහුනොත් කියන්නේ මෙහෙමයි හරිද දැන් ඔයාලා බලනවා කොහොමද හොයන්නේ කියලා හරි හොයන්නේ දෙකක් තියෙනවා right අපි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ පළවෙනි ක්‍රමය මම කියනම් පළවෙනි ක්‍රමය මොකක්ද කියලා පළවෙනි ක්‍රමය තමයි දැන් මම අසයින්මන්ට් එක බලනකොට හරිද දැන් මම අවුරුදු 4කට වගේ වැඩ කරනවා මේ හරිද මම අසයින්මන්ට් බලලා ඇති සෑහෙන ගාණක් බලලා ඇති හරිද එතකොට when I just see your assignment I know what it is, right? I know මොකෙන්ද ලියුවේ කියලා මම දන්නවා, right? මම බලට වඩා මම හිතනවා AI content කියවලා ඇති කියලා, right? Because I have seen many assignments, right? So just by looking at it, I can just tell, depending on the language and the words that you have used, even humanize karap, the core ideas and the way you try to emphasize things, right? So they are completely different. With actual humans and AI, right? That is an first thing, right? Or else, I think you can අවුල් වගේ හිතනොත් එහෙම දැන් ඔයාලට මොකක් හරි evidence එකක් ඕන කිව්වොත් එහෙම ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකට දාලා ඕනනම් ගෙනල්ලා පෙන්නලා academic misconduct එකක් දාලා meeting එකක් තියලා එන්න නරන්න පුළුවන් හරිද? ඒවත් option එකක් තියෙනවා ඕන. හරිද? So that is the first thing. When it comes to plagiarism. Second thing, when you're writing assignments, the best thing that you can do is actually, just now you might be, let's say, starting to write answers for the first task, right? Then you might be thinking, okay, I just need to come up with a very precise, perfect answer here, right? So until then you'll be like, will make it out of clear. Then you are trying to just enhance that one task 1.1 while the rest of the assignment is actually going to stay as it is, right? So in that case, you are going to waste your time, and also don't add things that you don't know. They won't get you marks. They are going to help you to reduce marks, right? Now, yesterday or day before yesterday, there was one student who came up with a security assignment between second semester module, right? So then, like, he have added things even I have not heard, right? So we have like different ISO standards and security standards, and there we have different sections in different documents, right? So he has just added according to section 4.1 point this one, blah blah blah. Then I ask, okay, what is this section 4.1 point this one?
then he doesn't know because I know it's from AI, right? One, but you have to do it and again submit, right? So therefore, you might be thinking out if I use what you call very advanced English words, or if I use very what you call latest technologies or emerging technologies here, which you have never heard, you might be able to get more marks, right? That is not true. Right? If you can just keep it simple and if you are really aware about the system or assignment that you have built, then that's it actually, right? So otherwise, you are just trying to like, you know what, just trying to show assignment uh, to me, right? They're just going to showing assignment to me by adding very advanced concept while you don't know anything, right? So it's pointless, and also some people are doing outsourcing as well, but not going to work because you have to do the practicals and you have to show me how to do different configurations and all. So if you can't do the configurations in the Viva, again you will get failed. Right? Assignment assignment is up already, but when I ask you to do a couple of configurations, you are unable to do so. So then I have interpreted problem, right? So if you have done all these work, so then why can't you just type a one code or one function or like let's say one configuration? So in that case, again, I'll fail you and you have to do it again. So then you'll get a pass. Right? That thing is also there. Same with other subjects as well. I think programming and all. You have Vivas, I guess, right? Right. So it's almost 12. Attendance sheet. So last attendance sheet. Last day for marking the attendance for the first semester. I think I'll be doing the security for you guys in the second semester, right? So sorry? Technically yes, but if you want, you can come next week as well to get a feedback if you want. Right. So next week class එන එක compulsory නෑ. මගේ එකට. අනිත් ඒවා මම දන්නේ නෑ. Because next week you guys are having classes, I guess, right? So next week for networking module, you don't have lecture. You'll have a feedback session, right? Which means those who want to get the feedback, you can come and get the feedback, right? Others, no need. You can just sleep little, and then you can then come to the other module. Then you can come to the database module lecture in the evening, right? So evening, right? So yeah, and what else? Yeah, ඒක තමයි. අදම කියලා assignment එක පටන් ගන්නේ. I think හෙට නැත්නම් ආයෙ මාව හම්බෙන්නේ next semester එකේ තමයි. I think next semester is going to start on 16th. Sorry, not 16th. I think like next week after that. I think the week after that. I think that means like today's just the second. 10th. Next week means 10th. So 10th, 9th. Then 16. Then 16 plus 7 means 4. 323. 23rd. I guess 23rd or so. Right. Okay, then good luck with your assignments. And if you want to ask anything, just message දාන එක නම් හරියන්නේ නැහැ බං ඈ. මොකද නම් මට message ගොඩක් එනවා. ඉතින් ඒකින්ද උඹලා කියවට reply කරන්න මට හම්බෙන්නේ නැති වෙයි. හරිද? දැනට 700 ගණක් විතර දෙනවා read කරමු නැති ඒවා. හරිද? So ඒක හරියන්නේ නැහැ. So next week එමුණොත් එහෙම ඔයාලා මොනවා හරි doubts තියෙනවා නම් බලාගෙන ඉන්න. So I'll help you with that up to a certain extent. And you'll have the videos anyways, no? So I'll share this one as well today itself before I leave the class. So then you'll have the complete recordings and all. Okay, then good luck. Attendance sheet එක sign කරලා යන්න. First semester networking last attendance sheet. I think you're a first semester networking.
අ ළමයි වල යනකොට බෑග්ස් ටික අරන් යන්න ක්ලාස් එක වාහන දෙනවා.
So, do we have to do the